This tutorial we're going to cover how to manage installation items. And this is for companies who maybe not only sell doors, frames, and hardware, total accessories, or any other item you can think of, but also install. And you can manage this by an hourly rate, which you set. You can also manage it by individual items, according to the amount of time it's going to take you in hours and minutes. So to manage this, you're going to come under the administration and come down to manage installations. And this will open the manage install form. You have a couple different ways to manage these. One is by installation item itself, and the other one's by an actual part number, like an actual hinge, a door, frame, whatever. We're going to cover first by installation, but before we do that, I also want to bring up how you can come into Add Edit Products and also manage these items individually. So under Add Edit Products, you can see there's a new area down here called Installation, and that's exactly what this is going to be for. That's the install item itself, the hourly rate, the hours, and the minutes. Now, all these items, we've already pre-built these into your database. They're all going to be under your company name. In this case, this is our test database, so we have a company name of Contract Door Company. So we're going to select that as the vendor, and also that there'll be the manufacturer. The category is going to be under installation. So you want to make sure you put any new items under this installation category, not labor or anything like that. You can still use labor if that's what you want to use. But these installation items that you can send to estimates and sales orders really need to be under this installation category. So we'll select that. And if you look at the drop down, there's a whole list of different items that are already built in here for you. Including things like this is for toilet accessories. Now this is you notice every one of these right now, they begin with the word install. This is important. So this is so that Portal Pro now knows how to handle the item you're working with. So if you add any new item, whatever it might be, always start the part number with the word install. And then type whatever it is you want after that. Trying to think of a quick example. Maybe let's do closer, but we want to be a more specific closer. And maybe power operator. Or whatever you want to type. You control all of this. And then down here, we're just going to put just a better description. You notice the part number up here has no spaces. That's typically how you want to build your part number. But down here, we're going to do a regular description. Install power operator, or whatever you want to say in the description, doesn't matter. And then over here is going to be the list price, however much time, or whatever the hourly rate is, that you want for this particular install item. So I think right now most of them are in here at $100 an hour, but let's say we want, for power operators, we want to make this $120 an hour. So we'll enter 120, and that's going to be the same as the hourly rate that's going to show down here. Now we want to pick a discount. You should only have 2 discounts for your company, net and special. So you always want to select net. All these install items are going to be a labor type service, so they're going to be a net cost. So we'll select net, which is a multiplier of 1. Now, if for some reason you want to be able to discount your rates, you can go into manage discounts and add new discounts for your company. That's all up to you. This is all customizable, controlled by you. So you can see here we're going to stay with this for a net discount of 120, so that gives our cost of 120. There's no net add unless there's something you want to add in here, whatever it might be. Typically, there's no surcharges. I don't see why your company would be charging a surcharge, but again, that's up to you. You might want to do that. And so our total cost is still 120. Unit of measure, we're going to come down here, we're going to select hour, and this is an hourly rate for this item. There's no weight to labor or install, so that's blank. The part type, we always want to select service. Don't try not to put this under non-inventory or anything like that, or even inventory. You can't put labor in inventory anyway. So make all of these service as the part type. And then your income and cost of goods accounts, or be whatever they are for your company, I'd set those accordingly. And I think in this particular case, it's sales income and cost of goods, I believe it is cost of goods. So we'll need to set that. Make sure this is checked or unchecked according to your state. I believe there are some states that do not charge tax on labor or services. So if your company is not taxable, then uncheck that. There should not be any components, so don't worry about adding components for this. This is an hourly labor rate. So now once we have this all completed here, that's all we're going to need. So when we add this, when we save this, this is going to add this to the list of install items. And it's also going to show up in the list, or this drop down here. This is where you can add an install item to a particular hardware item, or door, or frame, or total accessory, whatever. But we'll get into that in just a bit. All right, so once we have all that, we can click on Save Product, and that's going to save all this to your database. So this is how you're going to manage these individually. Now, if there's one I wanted to make a change on specifically, like Install Closer, I can select it. To give you an example, you can see the different hinge items here. There's just installing a hinge, just whatever that might be. And then you have this 10 SCR. That means 10 screws, or 4 screws, 6 screws, 8 screws. This could be a significant change, or an installation charge, because it may not seem like much, but to install a hinge with 4 screws, to install a hinge with 10 screws, let's say, and you're installing 1,000 screws or 1,000 hinges, those additional screws can add up to quite a bit of time. So you can use these if you like, and because it could be an additional amount of time. If we take a look at this 10 screw, you can see it's in here at 7 minutes per hinge. These are all estimates. You can update or change these however you want them to be. But I could change it here if needed. And if we look at, say, maybe a 4 screw, you can see that's only 4 minutes per hinge. So that's extra minutes for a 10 screw hinge could add up if you're doing a lot of those hinges. So just keep that in mind when you're setting up or creating these different install items. Okay, so that's where you can manage each one individually. Let's come back over to the Manage. Now, you have 2 different ways you can manage these. One is by installation, and the other one's by part number. So let's cover by installation first. I'll check this box. You can see now I have access to this box here. First thing I need to do is click on Get Install List. And that pulls up all the items that are in the database now with their hourly rate and the hours and minutes for each one of these items. And these are the install times to install each one. For example, here's Install Coordinator, 15 minutes. That may be longer for your company or shorter, depending on how quick you are. So you can go down here and make the necessary changes in these times. You can change multiple items at once. by just checking a box. These are all, let's say I want to make these all 30 minutes. So I'll check these boxes, and I'll just, now one thing you can do to check these boxes also, let me just mention this as a time saver, especially if you're doing a lot of these. What I can do is I can check the first box that I want to change. Now I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard and arrow down, and when I get to the next item I can hit the space bar on my keyboard and will automatically check that, or hit it again and it unchecks it. So I can do this kind of quick if I want to do a lot of these. So you can see how that works. That can save you some time and checking a lot of these. And the same is true over here when you're entering these times. If I want to change a whole list, a whole row of these, I'd go to the first item, make my change. Maybe instead of 20 minutes, I want to make this 30. Now I'm going to go down and hit the arrow key on my keyboard and then type the same thing. Now if I'm making these changes, I want to make sure I have these boxes checked over here. Otherwise the change will not be made. And then once I've changed these times, I come up here and I click this button, Save Times Rate, and it'll make the changes to the ones that I have checked and the times that I've changed. Another way, you can, if you want to change everything all at once, you can check this box here. It'll go down and check everything for you. And this is good if you're going, maybe you want to make a change to everything, or you just want to change everything except for a couple items. Then you can go to the couple items and uncheck them as needed so that those will not be updated. So just some different shortcuts you can use on this. Now let's go ahead and reload this list, bring back the original times. I can also change my rate. Right now everything is set to $100 an hour. But if there's a particular item in here, maybe it takes me a little bit longer, I can check that box for that one item and then change that rate accordingly. Maybe instead of 100, I want that to be 120. I'll click Save Rate and it'll make that change just for that one item. The other option is if I want to change everything, make everything my standard rate to be the same, check the box, put in whatever my rate that I want, click Save Rate, and it'll update the rate for every item here that's checked. Now another thing I can do is I can make certain items active or inactive. So let's say back over, let's take this hinge for example. Let's go ahead and uncheck all this. Maybe instead of breaking it down by the number of screws, I don't even want those to show up in my list when I'm in an estimate or a sales order or whatever. So I want to make these inactive. I'll just go down, I'll check the boxes for those 4, and let's say I only want my people to use install hinge. I'll come up here and change this to inactive, check that, click this button, Save Active, and it'll make these 4 items inactive, and they will no longer show up in the list when I'm in a sales order or estimate. Now they'll still be in my database. I can come back in. Right now, for whatever, I'll fix this later. There should be an active and an inactive button here, so that if you want to pull up the inactive install items, you can check that box and then hit by installation and get install list, and that'll pull up all the inactive items that you've changed and made inactive. And that way, if you want to make them active again, you can do it then. Okay, so that's pretty well covers it. Whenever you add a new item under Add Edit Products, if you don't enter the install rate and hours and minutes down here, then you can do it in this form. When you pull it up, you'll see either the rate will be blank or the hours will be all 0. So just to make sure you have times for everything, you can scroll down here and the minutes and make sure you at least have minutes. for every item. Hours can be blank because not everything takes more than an hour. But items that do, like for example, installing a frame could take an hour and 15 minutes, or installing a wood frame. So this is where you're going to manage all these individual items. Now the other way you can manage this is by part number. So if I check this box here, now I have access to this box. If I click Get Part Numbers now, it's going to pull in everything that's in my database. And you might not want to do that because that's going to load about over 400,000 items, and you have to wait for that to load all those items. The best way to do it is to break it down by either category or by manufacturer and category, or by manufacturer. For example, if I want to pull in all air louvers, I'll just pull up the manufacturer of air louvers, get part numbers. There's only one item in here by air louvers, and that's a freight item. So this would not be an item that I would do anything with. This is not going to be an install item, so I wouldn't do anything with that. But let's say if I find an item that will have some products in here. Let's go down. Let's try Seco. Now if I click Get Part Numbers, now you can see I've got all the items that are in my database for Seco, including their freight. This one I will not do anything with. That's why typically when you do these, you might want to just do category alone. So what this has now is everything that's in here in the system by Seco, which includes things like accessories, a lot of different part component items. So you really don't want have to manage any of this because typically when you're installing a door or a frame, you're working with the entire frame and not individual components. Now you can work with these if you like. That's all up to you. But what we're going to do is break this list down to a little bit more specific. Let's say hollow metal doors. Now when I click Get Part Numbers, now all I see are hollow metal doors that are in my database for Seco. And you can see these are all using this install item of install door hollow metal. I can change these globally. These are all using the same install item. So if there's something else I want to change it to, I can select them all. It'll go down and check the list. So if you have a lot of items, it can take a few minutes to check everyone. And then what I can do up here now is I can go in and change it to whatever install item I want to change it to. For doors, not really a good example because that's really the only item I would use unless you add some other kind of install item yourself. But once I select the item that I want to change it to, you can see it adds the rate, the hours, and the minutes. I can change just a particular item if I wanted. Let's just uncheck everything. Okay, so if I wanted to change just one particular item, maybe I want to change this one because this particular door takes an extra amount of time. Maybe I want to change that to 30 minutes. Or if I want to change the hourly rate, I can change it, and I'll click Save Install. And then whenever I pull up this particular door, that's the install time and rate that will be used just for this particular door. So you can get, like I said, you can get pretty specific. This add install, all that does is open up the add added products form here so you can add a new item. But if you do add a new item, you want to make sure you click this refresh list to reload this drop down. So that your new item that you just installed will show up here. Okay. Now you can pull these up by category alone. Let's change this door back to nothing, and let's go to maybe hinges. Here we go, hinges and pivots as a category. Now click Get Part Numbers. Now this is going to pull up all hinges or all parts that are in the database now under every manufacturer. So you can see there's a lot of different manufacturers in here with all of their products. And you can see they're all right now using this install hinge. Some items don't have anything because either we have not set the rate. That looks like a pivot. That which would probably be a different install type. And I believe I do have a pivot in here. Maybe we missed that one. Let's go down to hinge. We do not have a pivot. So that's an item that I could add to install a set of pivots. I don't believe it's in here under pivot. No. So that's an item that I could add as a new install item by clicking Add Install, then going into Add Edit Products. Under my company name, click the new part number and everything, and then save it, and then refresh that list. And then when I hit this drop down, I can select Install Pivot, and then I can check any pivots that are in the list here, and then click Save Install, and now that will be used anytime this particular item is pulled up in a sales order or an estimate as the install rate. Okay, so that's how you can break it down again specifically. Now you can also, like we do have toilet accessories in here also. If I click on this, we'll click Get Part Numbers. So if you're doing toilet accessories, these are all the items that are in here now, which you can update, you can change if you want, or you can add new items, new part numbers. Now when you're adding a new part number, under Add Edit Products, you'll go to that manufacturer. Let's say we'll try Bobrick. This will be toilet accessories. Apparently this is under Toad, so I would go through Toad to add the part number, everything that I would need for that particular part, build it, save it, and then once I finished with Toad and it loads the part number in here, or if it's not part of Toad, just go ahead and type your part number and description, all these items over here. Now if it's a regular part number, let's just pull one up. You see the inventory part's it's going to change to an inventory part over here. If you're adding a new item like this, leave it as it is, as an inventory part. You don't want to change an actual part to service. But down here, what you're going to do is, see this one is a mirror. This is going to use this install item of install TA mirror and the hourly rate and amount of time to install it whenever I pull up this particular hardware item. Hope this makes sense. If you have any questions on how I'm explaining this, please call or email, because I want to make sure it's clear to everyone on how this all works. So that's how we're going to manage an individual item. Or again, you can come over here and update the items individually, or however you want to do it. It's all up to you. So it's all customizable any way that you want to set it up. Okay, I believe that should pretty well cover installation types. Now be sure to watch our tutorials on creating estimates and creating an installation project, and also sales orders with install items. That'll be under a different tutorial. So if you have any questions on this, any questions, issues, or suggestions, please call or email us, because we'll be more than happy to help or take a look at everything. Thanks again, and have a great day.